Now, joining me now is Dan Ives. He's the Managing Director of Equity Research in Wedbush Securities. Thank you very much for your time. Now, what will this latest ban mean for these technology firms?
Look, I think there's just a continuing trend that we've seen in the U.S. and you've seen throughout parts of the world. I think Canada, it was viewed that they were going to be sort of on the fence. The fact that they ultimately went down the path in terms of Huawei, I think it's definitely a bit of a blow. Now, I think in terms of the overall pie, this doesn't significantly move the needle in terms of what Canada could do. I think the bigger worry is, does this start to ultimately bleed into Europe? And right now, Huawei really, continues to be in a very difficult situation in terms of trying to further penetrate some of these markets, just given the concerns.
Despite Huawei, though, being banned here in the United States, from what I understand, there have been a lot of delays and deferrals of actually removing the technology, and a lot of the Chinese tech seems to remain in place throughout the United States. Is that the case for a lot of other Western nations as well that say that they've banned Huawei?
Yeah, look, I think, banning it is easier said than done because the infrastructure and actually ultimately taking the pipes out is a lot more difficult than I think most people realize. Look, and I think also when it comes to 5G, 5G is still, in terms of the build out in the U.S., it's been very slow. And I think it's been very sort of bumpy. So I think this is something where, especially in this 5G arms race, where what we've seen especially play out in China, Huawei, I think, is trying to get their sea legs and figure out what markets, at least internationally, they could further penetrate successfully.
And how is China pivoting towards domestically produced technology?
Look, I mean, there's no doubt when it comes to 5G, I mean, China's been a clear leader. And I think what we're starting to see more and more is, is almost a deglobalization when it comes to 5G. And I think right now what's starting to happen is in the U.S. and throughout Europe, you're starting to see this arms race play out. But no doubt, I mean, Huawei, even though Huawei, we'll call it, it's a bad word in terms of, in parts of the U.S. and Canada in terms of, what we're seeing with the ban, the reality is their success speaks for itself within China. And this is going to be a trend that we're going to continue to see play out globally over the coming years because it's really a battle for 5G, that's playing out around the world.
All right, Dan, really appreciate your time. Dan Ives for us there from Equity Research in Wedbush Securities.